get to do things for people, get to be part of someone's life. You know, you guys are my extended family. You guys, you know, I've gone to weddings and birthdays, and I hate to say it, I've been to funerals. I've visited people in hospitals. Without this club, without you, without these stupid freaking motorcycles, you know, we wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have met any of you guys, not a one, not a single one. I mean, I got Jesse, who's a mile from my house. I would have never met him, you know, if it wasn't for these stupid motorcycles. You know, I hear a lot about, well, the website's dead. There's no traffic on the website. Well, there's not. It's not a lot. But there's a lot of communication going on. There's a ton of communication going on. More than ever. But it's through social media. So my goal, and Tim suckered me into this, within the next year, we're going to have all the forums connected to your forum. Will be connected to your website, or to your website, or your Facebook group, and everybody else's. So the social media will be connected to our forum. So the people that don't use, you know, the guys with the flip phones, you know, those guys, you know who you are. So you guys that don't use Facebook, we're going to try to keep you connected by doing this, so that everybody, so when Marty does something, he posts it, I know it, and I don't have to go to his Facebook page. And some of the things we're going to do is try to make it more beneficial for vendors to be on our website by connecting them to all of our Facebook groups too. Okay, that was off track too. All right. You know, we're still the same. We always, you know, as we were before. Look at this group. You know, look at how this is our club right here. It's not the forum. It's all of you. You know. You know, the club's doing pretty good with money. We're not suffering, and you know, our goal is to get rid of our money every year, so we're doing it. But the way we keep our money, the way we make money is by members and retaining members every year. So we could all take on the task of helping, you know, promoting the club and getting people to stay around, you know, getting them to participate. Once you participate, you don't leave, right? Once you do something with us. I mean, look at this group. How many of these people, like Tim, he's been here 15 freaking meets in a row, you know? He's not going anywhere. He wants to go to the meets. So let's get people participating. Now, I'm done with everything else, but a lot of you have looked at this, seen this motorcycle right here, okay? There's let's talk about opportunities. Well, I got an opportunity one day. I got a text message from a VMC member, and his name's Jade Bell, and he's an airman. And he was stationed down in Nevada. And he is part of the Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, Chapter 41-4, out of Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry, -1. Yes. That's twice I said that today. Jade texted me. He says, hey, Jordan, you know where we can get a cheap motorcycle, an inexpensive motorcycle, and this is what we're trying to do. We're going to take a motorcycle, our group, our combat vets are going to take a motorcycle and we're going to find a vet and we're going to give it to them. And the reason why we want to give it to them is because like 22 vets a day kill themselves. And they need something to be involved in to get their minds off of what's going on. So these guys, they stand up for this and they say, we're going to get somebody involved. So Jade calls me or texts me and asks me if I can find a bike. Well, I'm thinking about it. I said, I'll call you back. And I have a couple bikes. Maybe a few. And I thought, So I call Rylan, boss of the big shop. I call Rylan, and the reason I call Rylan is a couple of reasons. He's a really good friend of mine. But he built Old Blue's motor. And I wanted to, get his opinion.
How many times did he build it?
You mean how many times was it his fault, or was it my fault? So I call Rylan up and I say, hey, these guys, they want to give a motorcycle to a vet, and not only are they going to give them a motorcycle, they're going to pay for the registration, the training, equipment, everything. They're going to supply everything. So all this guy's got to do is he's got to throw his leg over the bike. And I thought it was awesome. And Rylan thought it was awesome. He says, don't give him Old Blue. I said, why not? He says, because Old Blue's got 147 horsepower. And that's not something a beginner needs to be riding. So I said, what are we going to do? He says, find me a frame. I got all the parts. I'm going to build him a bike. And I'm like, that's kick-ass. You know?
Yeah.
And, he says, find me a titleable frame. So, after that phone call, I make another phone call. I call Barry Goodman at Warner Cycle Works in Omaha, Nebraska. Well, I tell Barry the same story. I tell him what Rylan said, as in, no, don't give him Old Blue. And I tell him they're looking for a bike. He said, well, we got something in the back room. Let me talk to the owners and see how low they'll go. They like the military and they do a lot of stuff. About a week later, I get a phone call, and Barry says, hey, I talked to them, and they're going to give you that motorcycle.
Nice.
I'm like, free? He's like, free. You can't beat that one. So then the chores start. We got to get it titled to these guys. We get that done. I go pick it up. I take it to Adele, Iowa, to the big shop. Rylan and Gabe work this bike. Where's Sean Fagan at? Sean! That used to be Sean's bike. So Sean traded that in on a cross country, which he wrecked, but that's another story. So we get it all titled. I take it to Adele, Iowa. Rylan works on it for months. I'm not going to say how much, but he put a lot of money into it. And it was Rylan's idea that we bring that bike here and present it to these guys. So, where's Rylan at?
What the kids did that?
Oh, is he? Gabe. So, these guys work hard to make this. And, you got something you want to say? No? Well, you had to collect parts and get everything done. But Gabe and Rylan, my buddies, they helped to do this. They did all the work. All I did was make phone calls, so. Well, yeah, tell them what you did to the bike.
So the paint was in pretty rough shape on the front fender and the tank, and just need a little bit of warming over. So what we ended up doing was we ended up pulling the motor. We want a safe, reliable bike to give away, right? So we want to make sure the 60,000 or however many miles that were already on it didn't do anything to the motor. So we stripped it all down, split the cases, replaced all the bearings in the bottom end, transmission bearings and all that good stuff. Built a nice little high compression V92 out of it. can't remember whether we used stock cams in there or not, if we threw something else in there, but anyway. We went ahead and powder coated the front end, had some so the forks, the triples, the headlight bucket, the bars, the risers, new paint on the front fender and the tank.
All right, now, with all that being said, on behalf of Gabe and Rylan,
He's on his way.
he's on his way? Tell him to hurry up. Stretch. Well, one day down in Arkansas. You mean when the building fell down? I'm drinking water now. How long did he say? How long did he say? Which time?
The other ones don't count.
Well, like I said, one day down in Arkansas. I really don't have a lot more. I'll give you an example of people doing stuff for other people. I was out riding way far away from Lincoln, out in the middle of Nebraska. My motor blew up, the first one. Sitting out in the middle of nowhere, a friend of mine, firefighter, member of the VMC, he decides he's going to run into town and see if there's, at the volunteer fire department, see if there's anybody there he can talk to and get a truck. And before I know it, this truck pulls up, and this guy rolls down his window, he goes, "I live right up there on the hill, I'll be back in 5 minutes." 15 minutes later, he comes back with 2 trucks and a trailer on the back. And he jumps out and he says, "Load it up, get it in the trailer." So we load it up, go to the trailer. And he says, "Just get the truck back to Grand Island, and then I'll come pick it up from there." This is a guy I've never met, never seen before in my life. And I'm not talking like 30 miles, I'm talking like 150 miles. And then he gives me the truck. I couldn't believe it. I drove it home, got my bike unloaded, got it back to Grand Island, and he came and picked up the truck. I mean, that's what people that ride motorcycles do. You know, and I couldn't believe it. Well, now that Ryan made you get tortured through that story, this is Rylan Boss, the owner of the big shop. This is my extremely good friend. I've known Rylan since '05 when he was just a little fella. Now look at him, he's all grown up. Rylan does great work, and he's done a lot of work for all of us. And not only does he, do the bikes, but he volunteered to do this bike, and that means a lot to me, and it shows a lot of who he is. On behalf of Rylan, Gabe, Barry Goodman, Warner Enterprises, and the entire VMC, I want to present this bike to the Combat Vets, Chapter 41-4 in Nevada. 41-1. Come on up. Mark the front